All right, guys, our 1967 Pontiac Firebird 400 is done out of painting, and I'm just taking the time now to remove all the masking we put on the windows and other spots around the car. And I gotta tell you, it was kind of like Christmas morning as a kid unwrapping this Firebird. So let's get into this and show you what we've done to the bird. All right, guys, taking the tape off the bird. This tape had been on there for almost a year. So we originally put this on when we did the primer, and we started doing our body work and finding the little pieces that we needed to fix. So this tape had sat on the car for a year and was not very forgiving. The second layer of the wrap, the mask we put on, came off, but that tape that went around the edges that we originally placed down back this time last year, yeah, it definitely gave me a run for my money, to the point where I was taking a razor blade and just kind of shifting it and shifting it and shifting it until I could get a hold of something and peel off the masking tape. So, the Home Depot blue tape, 3M, got to tell you, that's the good stuff. And that other yellow and green stuff, yeah, no, don't even waste your money on that stuff. Get rid of that crap. All right, kind of get an idea here. So the paper came off really easy, but then when it came to the blue stuff, you had to fight it and fight it and fight it to get it to come off. And you get it off in sections, but it did its job. It kept a majority of the paint, probably 95% of the paint, off of the surfaces. We didn't want it on there, and that's what the whole point was, is just to make sure what we didn't want painted didn't get painted. Now, I think this part here was the most fun, and there's Maggie the shop dog. Pulling the masking off the windows, man, on the doors, totally freaking blew my mind when I got to really see that color come through without the masking on it. And yeah, I'm still jazzed about this paint job. Not the world's best paint job, but damn, it is really a nice paint job using that R500 paint gun and that Summit single stage paint. Let's get this window wrapping off. Let's see what this bird looks like. I'm really thankful that I took the time and had the patience to take the time to go ahead and just tape off everything we didn't want paint on. And I really believe that little bit of patience and a little bit of prep work before we painted is what allowed us to have such an awesome looking paint job on this bird. It was a little bit time consuming, to go and tape off everything you needed and wanted to be taped off. But in the end, when you see this car in person, hey, for a two-car garage in the middle of winter in Phoenix, Arizona, with a 26-gallon compressor, the R500 paint gun, and some Summit single-stage paint, and two crazy guys just trying to get it done, I think the bird came out pretty damn good. Now, looking on this paint job, the only thing I would do differently if it was a do-over again was instead of opening and closing the garage door as many times as we did, I would have found a way for us to be able to move around the car without having to open up the garage door each time. I feel like every time we did that, we had dust and dirt come onto the paint job. That's the only thing I think we would do differently. Other than that, the setup was great. The masking came out perfect. The paint laid down really well. There was a few spots in the beginning on the roof where we have some orange pill, but we're gonna do a cut and buff on the whole car, and that'll be a video coming up. So we're done with the painting on the Firebird. All right, now that I had the car out of the garage, we've taken off all the masking, it was time to put on the fenders and the hood. Now, if you remember, I shot the fenders and the hood separately on this car a few months back to test out some things. Those came out beautiful. They're going to need just a little bit of a light buff and cut. They're going to come out tremendously awesome. So Brandon and I went ahead and put on the inner fender wells, got those all situated and bolted in correctly to the car. Then we went ahead and started getting the fenders. Now, got to tell you guys, I've watched John's video and some of Louis' videos and some other people. When it came to putting on the fender over on top of the inner wheel well, that was a struggle that took us a lot longer than we're willing to show you off camera. It definitely was a challenge to get that lip of that fender up and over the inner part of that fender well to get it all put together. But again, patience. We took a break. We rethought some things, came back around, and we finally figured out how to get these inner fender liners to work in with our fenders. Oh man, this is when the excitement started. Finally getting to see everything kind of down the side of this car back together. And again, we took notes when we took the fender off originally, how many shims went in which location. So we were really grateful to have that information. So after we're in here, we're just kind of getting everything set, making sure we have the shims and the bolts in place and ready to go for when we can snake that fender up and in there to the car. We can go ahead and start bolting her down and getting her ready to go. Oh yeah, now this was a chore to bring out the hood from the second garage and get it prepped and ready to put on the bird. So we just kind of took our time, didn't go fast. We just slowly tiptoed it past the other car there to get it over to our work area, and we're going to go ahead and take off. We just left it alone. So this hood and those fenders, they have been sitting probably for a good 2 months in paint. So we know the paint was nice and hard and ready to go, and we can take off that masking without any issues whatsoever. And again, even with two guys trying to flip that big ass hood around, it was a chore, but we got it done. And taking off the masking, very, very rewarding to see how good of a job we had painted and masked off this Firebird 400 hood. And once again, like I said, prep is indeed the master of everything. Before we took the hood off the car way back in 2020, I went ahead and marked the location of the hood hinges and the bolts where they went. So when it came time to put the hood back on, it was really simple to do. We almost nailed it perfectly. Of course, we did make some adjustments here and there, which is really easy. You just kind of look and see. You want the tip of the hood to match up with the tip of the fender, and then from side to side, we just took our time and dialed it in. And again, patience, 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 and you'll snap it together and it'll come together. And check this out. All right, so here she is. She's all put back together. And bring you in here, Gonna let you see. Now, we did put the emblems on just for fun, and these are not in yet, just yet, in the Firebird right there. But overall, she came out really nice. You can see a shine. There's a few little spots, like there's a little run right there. And then on the back here, especially on the back part of it, there's a lot of dust. And again, that's from us opening and closing the garage door, and a little thing right there. Kind of see it. But other than that, I mean, we are totally stoked about how this came out. Over on this side, looking down, everything looks pretty good. Fenders, need to pull that fender in just a little bit, but for the most part, we got all of our body lines pretty spot on for this. All right, guys, the bird is painted. Now it's time for cutting and buffing. You might be able to see that I've already started on the roof line. That'll be a new video coming up. This video, just to kind of let you guys know that after 5 or 6 long years just working on this on the weekends, the 67 Firebird is finally painted, and now comes the fun time of sanding and buffing everything, putting all the chrome back on it and the trims, and then getting to the inside and putting a new carpet, new headliner, and taking care of all the interior that needs to be done before we head off to Firebird Fest in May back there in St. Louis. So with that, guys, I will see you next Friday for another Firebird Friday video. Be good, and remember, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Arizona time, remember to join us for our live, where it's Jonathan, Louie, and Mike, and myself, and we take your questions on restoring these classic automobiles. Till then, see ya.